We're live? All right. Dasa Vṛndāvanam Bande Kṛṣṇadāsa Prabhum Tata Chanavatar Caitanya-Līlā Vishakha Yo Nityananda Parabja Karunarena Bhushito Vyaktachano Burachincho Vavande Vyasadupino Shri Guru Gaur Gandharva Govindascha Ganaisaha Jayanti Patakaschacha Sarvesham Gurunartino. So we are going to continue with Sri Caitanya-Caritāmṛta. This is our beautiful scripture describing the life, teachings, pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we're in chapter 14. Well, now I lost my place. A little flower petal was marking. Here it is. Chapter 14, performance of the Vṛndāvana pastimes. And we just heard about we're still in the middle of the Ratha Yatra festival. You've heard of Ratha Yatra? Ratha Yatra? You've probably heard of it, maybe not the name you don't remember, but it's a famous chariot festival that takes place in India. There's one big deity called Jagannath. It's one form of Krishna. It's in Orissa, Jagannath Puri. And once a year he comes out in these very grand chariots, accompanied by his brother and sister, Baladev and Subhadra. And what is it, 1 million, 2 million people, they come? Something like that. Huge, huge numbers of people come for this. And they pull him with ropes down this particular pathway. And it goes on for a few days, and he reaches another temple, and then they bring him back, and it's a very grand event. And so Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, going back 500 years, he also participated in this pastime. And so we've been hearing that description. Okay. And so Mahaprabhu just took rest, right, in this beautiful garden. They took prasad, that's where we finished yesterday. They had lunch prasad, and Mahaprabhu was distributing prasadam to some of the beggars in Jagannath Puri. So that was very beautiful. Maybe I'll go back a little. I'll just read a few verses before, so we remind ourselves. Following the orders of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Govinda, his personal servant, called for all the poor beggars who were unhappy due to their poverty and fed them sumptuously. Observing the beggars eating prasad, Mahaprabhu chanted Hari Bol and instructed them to chant the holy name. As soon as the beggars chanted the holy name, Hari Bol, they were immediately absorbed in ecstatic love of Godhead. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed wonderful pastimes. Okay, we'll pick up from here. Iha Jagannathera cholen samoe, goda sabrata tane age nahi jai. Outside the garden, when it was time to pull Jagannath's car, all the workers called godas tried to pull it, but it would not move forward. So this deity form of Jagannath, right, as I described, the devotees are pulling him on this grand chariot, but actually he is the Supreme Lord. He moves by his own will, right? Although to our eyes he looks like a stone statue, he is actually fully conscious, right? And he moves when he wants to move, not when we decide, to move him. So sometimes when they're pulling him, they're not able to, right? And other times it is effortless. And the Lord is playing with his devotees in this way. Tani dena pade goda rata chadi dilo, patra mitra loya raja, vyagra hoya. When the godas saw that they could not budge the car, they abandoned the attempt. Then the king arrived in great anxiety, and he was accompanied by his officers and friends. So this is a problem, right? Jagannath won't move. So the king is personally coming. The king then arranged for big wrestlers to try to move the car. And even the king himself joined in, but the car could not be moved. Vyagrahoyane raja matahati gan, rata chalaite rate korilo yojan. Becoming even more eager to move the car, the king had very strong elephants brought forth and harnessed to it. Matahaste gandane jarjata bol, ekapadana choleda doilo achol. The strong elephants pulled with all their strength, but still the car remained at a standstill, not budging an inch. Oh wait, maybe we have a painting we can show, Pedro. Where are the pictures? Are they in the front? That's Jagannath. Thank you, Devi. Let's see if there's a... Here we are. Here's a photograph.
Oh, well.
And it happens every year. Yeah. And so I think that one's Jagannath, and then one is Balaram, the other his sister Subhadra. Let's see. So the elephants pulled with all their strength, but still the car would not move. As soon as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this news, he went there with all his personal associates. They then stood there and watched the elephants try to pull the car. Ankusher gai hasti koroye chitkar, ratanahi chole loke kore hahakar. The elephants, being beaten by the elephant goad, some stick, were crying, but still the car would not move. The assembled people cried out, "Alas, alas!" Tobe Mahaprabhu sa bhasti go chailo, nija gane rata kachi, tani bade dilo. At that time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu let all the elephants go free and placed the car's ropes in the hands of his own men. So he didn't like that they were beating the elephants. Apane rater pache, tele mata diya, hadhad kodi rata cholila daya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then went to the back of the car and began to push with his head. It was then that the car began to move and ramble along, making a rattling sound. So Jagannath was waiting for Mahaprabhu to come. Bhaktagan kachi hate kori matra dai, apane cholilo tanite napai. Indeed, the car began to move automatically, and the devotees simply carried the rope in their hands. Since it was moving effortlessly, they did not need to pull it. Anande karoye log jaya jaya dhvani, jaya Jagannath boy adonahi shuni. When the car moved forward, everyone began to chant with great pleasure, Jai, Jai. And all glories to Lord Jagannath, Jai Jagannath. No one could hear anything else. Nimeshe to gelodad gundi chada dwada, Chaitanya pratapa deki loke chamatkada. In a moment, the car reached the door of the Gundicha temple. Upon seeing the uncommon strength of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the people were struck with wonder. Jai Gaur Chandra Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya He Mata Koloho Loke Danya Danya. So beautiful, the Bengali, so beautiful. Jai Gaur Chandra Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya He Mata Koloho Loke Danya Danya. The crowd made a tumultuous vibration, chanting Jai Gaur Chandra, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Then the people began to chant, how wonderful, how wonderful. Dekhiya pratapa rudra patra mitra sange, prabhur mahima dekhi preme phule ange. Seeing the greatness of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Pratapa Rudra Maharaj and his ministers and friends were so moved by ecstatic love that their hair stood on end. Pandu vijay tobe, kore sevak gane, Jagannath basila giya nija simhasane. All the servants of Lord Jagannath then took him down from the car, and the Lord went to sit on his throne. Subhadra Balaram nija simhasane haila, Jagannath snan bhogoite lagila. Subhadra and Balaram also sat on their respective thrones. There followed the bathing of Lord Jagannath, and finally the offering of food. Anginate Mahaprabhu loya bhaktagan, anande aramba koilo nartan kirtan. While Lord Jagannath, Lord Balaram and Subhadra sat on their respective thrones, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees began to perform Sankirtan with great pleasure, chanting and dancing in the yard of the temple. Do you know this word Sankirtan?
Yeah.
Okay, you know everything now. Yeah.
Little things.
Anande Mahaprabhu Prema Uttalila Deki Sab Loka Prem Sagade Basilo. While Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting and dancing, he was overwhelmed with ecstatic love. And all the people who saw him were also flooded in the ocean of love of Godhead. Nitya kore sandhya kale arati dekilo, aitotasi Prabhu Vishram korilo. In the evening, after finishing his dancing in the yard of the Gundicha temple, the Lord observed the arati ceremony, the evening arati, sandhya arati. Thereafter he went to a place called Aitota and took rest for the night. Advaitari bhaktagan nimantrana koilo, mukya navajan navadina pailo. For 9 days, 9 chief devotees, headed by Advaita Charja, got an opportunity to invite the Lord to their homes. Arubhaktagan chatur masye jattadin, eka dina korilo mantan. During the 4 months of the rainy season, the remaining devotees extended invitations to the Lord for 1 day each. In this way, they shared invitations. So they all want to have Mahaprabhu come and have lunch in their home, right? And this, it also mentions, this is during Chaturmasya. Chaturmasya is this 4-month period, which is generally the monsoon time. And you know, sannyasis in the Vedic tradition, they're supposed to travel all the time, so they don't develop too much attachment to one place. But there was this allowance during this Chaturmasya, rainy season, that they could stay in one place, because it's more difficult to travel. And so they could stay in one place at that time and go into their spiritual practice, you know, very deeply. And so Mahaprabhu, right, this is in this period when he's still traveling throughout India, but during this Chaturmasya period, he would staying in Puri. And so the whole congregation of devotees in Puri, they're very happy, you know, and they have the chance to invite the Lord to their home for lunch, right? But there are so many devotees who wanted to have him come that he had like a different invitation every day, right? So they had to make some organized system. Everyone got a chance. For the 4-month period, all the daily invitations were shared among the important devotees. The rest of the devotees did not get an opportunity to extend an invitation to the Lord. So there were so many who wanted, and there wasn't enough days for everyone, unfortunately. Ekadini mantran kore duitine mile, he mata Mahaprabhu nimantrana keli. Since they could not get 1 day each, 2 or 3 devotees combined to extend an invitation. So they would share one. Pratakale snan kori deki Jagannath, sankirtane nitya kore bhakta ganasat. After taking his bath early in the morning, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go see Lord Jagannath in the temple. Then he would perform Sankirtan with his devotees. Kabhu Advaita Nachai, Kabhu Nityanande, Kabhu Haridasa Nachai, Kabhu Achyutanande. The Bengali is so nice, and actually you lose a lot in the translation. It's very sweet. Kabhu is means sometimes. So sometimes Advaita would dance, Kabhu Advaita Nachai. Sometimes Advaita would dance, sometimes Nityananda. Sometimes Haridas would dance, sometimes Achyutananda, I'd say. By chanting and dancing, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu induced Advaita Acharya to dance. Sometimes he induced Nityananda, Haridas, Thakur, and Achyutananda to dance. Oh, hang on, actually, the grammar here is interesting, because I think by the grammar is actually saying he made them dance, something like he inspired them to dance. Advaita means to Advaita, right? With the E on the end. It's like that in Hindi too, isn't it?
Sanskrit.
In Sanskrit, right? Oh, Hindi's not like that, huh? Okay. Yeah, because it's not Advaita, it's Advaita. So that means to Advaita, right? Something like that. Yeah, so something like that. Sometimes he inspired, must be like that. Advaita to dance, sometimes Nityananda. It's very concise, it's very nice, the construction, right? Kabhu Vakveshvade, Kabhu Arbhakta Gane, Trisandhya Kirtan Gade, Gundicha Prangane. Sometimes Mahaprabhu engaged Rakreshwar and other devotees in chanting and dancing. 3 times daily, morning, noon, and evening, he would perform Sankirtan in the yard of the Gundicha temple. Do people know yard in England? Or is that people know yard? They say that in America, actually. In England, not so much. The garden. Vṛndāvane aila Krishna e Prabhu Gyan, Krishna viraha sporti hoilo avasan. At this time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt that Lord Krishna had returned to Vṛndāvana. Thinking this, his feelings of separation from Krishna subsided. Radha Sange Kṛṣṇadāsa hoilo gyane, he Dasi magna Prabhu hoila hapane. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always thinking of the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, and he remains personally merged in this consciousness. So the significance of this festival is very beautiful. As you may have heard, at a certain point, Krishna, when he's maybe 16 years old, he leaves Vṛndāvana, right? He grows up, his early years are in Vṛndāvana, he has so many sweet pastimes with his friends and family. But then around 16 years old, he has to leave to take care of some duties. And he never actually comes back to Vṛndāvana. He always promises that he will, but he never actually comes back. So this whole chariot festival is actually representing Krishna being brought back to Vṛndāvana, right? He went to stay in the big city because he's actually royalty. So he had duties to attend to. So this whole chariot festival is representing bringing Krishna back, out of his opulent lifestyle and duties in the big city, bringing him back to the sweet, simple Vṛndāvana life, right? So it's a very, very beautiful symbolism. And so Mahaprabhu is, in this mood of a devotee, feeling very happy. Oh, we have brought Krishna back to Vṛndāvana. There were many gardens near the Gundicha temple, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees used to perform the pastimes of Vṛndāvana in each of them. In the lake named Indradyumna, he sported in the water. Oh, this is very, very charming. So this Caitanya-Caritāmṛta, it's extraordinary book. This is just one volume. It's quite a bit longer, or many volumes. But there's a beautiful mix of Līlā, describing the play, the activities of Caitanya Mahaprabhu, And then there's also sections which are really going deep into the philosophy. And so everything is there. Right? And so this section we're in is one of the sections which is kind of more light and charming, and we're hearing about the sweet pastimes of the Lord. So we're going to hear about his water play now. The Lord personally splashed all the devotees with water. And you can see all these places if you go to Jagannath Puri. Maybe Vṛndāvana will take you there. You can see all these places there still, this lake and these temples and so on.
Maybe you can take us.
Have you been before to Puri? Okay. The Lord personally splashed all the devotees with water, and the devotees surrounding him on all sides also splashed the Lord. Kabu ek mandal, kabu anek mandal, jal manduk vajje sobe bajai kadatal. While in the water, they sometimes formed a circle, and sometimes many circles. And while in the water, they used to play cymbals and imitate the croaking of frogs. Dui dui jane meli kore jalaran, keho hade keho jine prabhu kore dadashan. Sometimes two would pair off to fight in the water. One would emerge victorious and the other defeated, and the Lord would watch all this fun. So the devotees are all pairing off and like wrestling with each other in the water. Advaita Nityanande Jal Fela Feli Acharya Hadiya Pache Kode Gala Gali. I think, do you remember if we went to this lake, the Indradyumna? Do you remember?
We didn't go, I think, but you and I think it's pictures I saw.
Okay. Yeah, I think we went there, yeah. I'm not...
Jagannath Vallabha Garden we went to.
Yeah, we went there. You were there, huh? Yeah. I think we went there. I don't remember so clearly, but I think we did.
I saw some picture of sporting, I don't know, with the water. Some of the devotees, was it this?
Oh, really?
Was it the beach?
Oh, that was probably the ocean. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think we went, yeah. The first sporting took place between Advaita Charya and Nityananda Prabhu, who threw water upon one another. Advaita Charya was defeated, and he later began to rebuke Nityananda Prabhu, calling him bad names. So Advaita Charya and Nityananda, they have this very playful relationship with each other. Vidya nide jal keli swarupe rasane gupta datte jala keli kore dui jane. Srup Damodar and Vidya Nidhi also threw water upon one another, and Murari Gupta and Vasudev Datta also sported in that way. Shiva Sahid Jal Kele Gadadhar Raghava Pandit Sane Kele Vakrishwar. Another duel took place between Shivas Thakur and Gadadhar Pandit, and yet another between Raghava Pandit and Vrikreshwar Pandit. Thus they all engaged in throwing water. Sarvabhauma Sange Kele Ramananda Rai Gambhirya Gelo Dohar Hoile Shishu Prai. Indeed, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya engaged in water sports with Sri Ramananda Rai, and they both lost their gravity and became like children. So all their like sober demeanor disappeared, right? And Sarvabhauma and Ramananda, they're both like, they're prominent persons within Jagannath Puri, right? So they're well known in Jagannath Puri, and they're very senior people, but they're acting like children. Mahaprabhu Tadohar Chanchalya Dekiya Gopinata Charje Kichu Kohen Hasiya. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw the exuberance of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Ramananda Rai, he smiled and spoke to Gopinatha-charya. Pandit Gambhir Duhe Pramanika Jan Bala chanchalya kore koroho vajan. Tell Bhattacharya and Ramananda Rai to stop their childish play, because they are both learned scholars and very grave and great personalities. Gopinath gohe tomar kripa maha sindhu, uchalita kore jabe tare kabindu. Gopinath Acharya replied, I believe that one drop of the ocean of your great mercy has swelled up upon them. A drop from the ocean of your mercy can drown great mountains like Sumeru and Mandara. Since these two gentlemen are little hills by comparison, there is no wonder that they are being drowned in the ocean of your mercy. Shushkatarka kali kaite janma gelo jar. Logic is like a dry oil cake from which all the oil has been extracted. Bhattacharya passed his life in eating such dry cakes, but now you have made him drink the nectar of transcendental pastimes. It is certainly your great mercy upon him. Asi Mahaprabhu tobe advaite anilo, jole upade tade sheshaya koilo. After Gopinath Acharya finished talking, Mahaprabhu smiled and, calling for Advaita Acharya, made him act like the Sheshanaga bed. Sheshanaga. Like Ananta Shesh, right? Because, well, maybe it's too much to explain, huh?
That's okay.
Yeah, because Advaita Acharya, he's Mahavishnu, right? But Ananta Shesh is one expansion of the Lord where he takes the form of a serpent, like a giant serpent. And Lord Vishnu rests upon him like as his bed. And so Mahaprabhu, he's telling his associate like to pretend to be like the serpent, and then he's laying on him, like floating in the water like that, like his bed. Lying down on Advaita Prabhu, who was floating on the water, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu demonstrated the pastime of Shesha Shai Vishnu. My goodness. Advaita Nija Shakti Prakat Kodiya Mahaprabhu Loya Bule Jolete Basiya. Manifesting his personal potency, Advaita Acharya floated about on the water, carrying Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Hemata jal krida kodi kotokan, aito taila Prabhu loya bak dagan. After sporting in the water for some time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to his place at Aitota, accompanied by his devotees. Puri Bharati Adi Jata Mukhya Bhaktagan, Acharya Nimanchane Korila Bhojan. Parmananda Puri, Brahmananda Bharati, and all the other chief devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took lunch at the invitation of Advaita Acharya. Vaninata Jata Prasadanilo. Mahaprabhu Ganese Prasada Kailo. Whatever extra prasad was brought by Vaninath Rai was taken by the other associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the afternoon, the Lord went to the Gundicha temple to visit the Lord and dance. So Mahaprabhu went to visit Jagannath. At night, he went to the garden to take rest. Adodina se koilo ishwadadashan, prangana nitya gita koilo kotokan. The next day, Mahaprabhu also went to the temple of Gundicha and saw the Lord. He then chanted and danced in the garden for some time. Bhaktagan sange Prabhu udyane asiya, Vṛndāvana vihar kore Bhaktagan aloya. Accompanied by his devotees, Mahaprabhu then went into the garden and enjoyed the pastimes of Vṛndāvana. Vikshavale prapulita prabhurdada shane, bringa pika gai vahe shital bhavane, There were many trees and creepers in the garden, and they were all jubilant to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Indeed, the birds were chirping, the bees were buzzing, and a cool breeze was blowing. Prativrika Dole Prabhu Koden Artan Vasudev Datta Macha Koden Gayan. As Mahaprabhu danced beneath each and every tree, Vasudev Datta sang alone. As Vasudev Datta sang a different song beneath each and every tree, Mahaprabhu danced there alone in great ecstasy. Tabe Vakreshware Prabhu Kohila Nachite Rakeshwar Nache Prabhu Lagila Gaite. Mahaprabhu then ordered Rakreshwar Pandit to dance, and as he began to dance, the Lord began to sing. Prabhu Sange Swarupadi Kirtaniya Gai Dik Vidik Nahi Gyan Preme Vanjai. Then devotees like Sri Damodar and other kirtan performers began to sing along with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Being inundated with ecstatic love, they lost all consideration of time and circumstance. Hemata Kotokan Kodivana Lila Narendra Sovare Gela Kodite Jala Kela. After thus performing pastimes in the garden for some time, they all went to a lake called Narendra Sarovar, and there enjoyed sporting in the water, or playing in the water. We went there. Yeah. After playing in the water, Mahaprabhu returned to the garden and accepted prasad with the devotees. For 9 continuous days, His Lordship Sri Jagannath Dev stayed at the Gundicha temple. During this time, Mahaprabhu also stayed there and performed the pastimes with his devotees that have already been described. So normally Mahaprabhu had his place where he stayed, right, in the Gambhira. But during this period, because Jagannath is out, so Mahaprabhu wants to stay close to him, so he's sleeping in this garden nearby, right? Now, so for 9 days, nowadays he doesn't stay so long, I think, does he? Not sure. Maybe.
Warm anyway, it's hot.
It's very hot, yeah.
It's pleasant to be
So he stayed there for 9 days, and Mahaprabhu also stayed there. The garden of his pastimes was very large and named Jagannath Vallabha. Mahaprabhu took his rest there for 9 days. Okay, that's the next. I think we'll stop there. Then we'll hear about the third phase in the Rathayacha pastimes. So beautiful, so ecstatic, my God.
When was the last time you went to Japan?
Last year we went, yeah. Actually, you know, I'm not so familiar with Puri because I was always in Navadvip. So last year was kind of like my first visit. I went once, maybe 10 years ago, but it wasn't like I went for another reason, for some, thank you, Dee, perfect. So I didn't really go properly. So last year was kind of like the first time, actually, that I went to Puri. And my God, Jagannath Puri is so incredible. You know, one side is a little difficult because, you know, the ocean is there, and so it's become very, very touristic because of that. And so many people, like many Indians will go for like a holiday by the seaside, and all these different types of shops and are coming up there, and so some things it was a little difficult to see. But all the temples, you know, visiting all the temples was, wow, so beautiful. And some of those temples, like, they're really preserving them. You know, like that Gopinath temple, like, it really feels like when you enter there, you're entering the pages of Caitanya-Caritāmṛta. Like, it's very, very profound. And the Gambhira also. Yeah.
Jagannath Vallabha garden was also.
Yes, yes. Yeah, it's such an important place for Mahaprabhu's pastimes, so it's so precious to be able to go and see all those places. Yeah, let's see, maybe we can go sometime. It feels, exactly. That's exactly what I felt like. I felt like we were entering the pages of Caitanya-Caritāmṛta.
We feel like we didn't have enough, probably, It's kind of like when you come back, then you say, oh my God, I should have.
Yes.
When you don't know, like sometimes that happened to me now, or like so many places, and then you understand that they mean one, and then here,
Yes, exactly. We even saw, so there's one place where which was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's residence, and I didn't know about this, but apparently there are all these underground tunnels. So like for these like important people, like Sarvabhauma was like a minister to the king, or he was like an advisor. And there was and they showed us, you can still see it. It's an underground tunnel that goes from his house to the Jagannath temple, right?
Mahaprabhu fainted, he brought.
That's right, he brought him through the tunnel. Of course, yeah. Yeah, it's like hidden behind a door, but they opened it. Because someone in our group, they knew about it. They don't show it to everyone, but I think it was Chintamani, right? She knew about it, and so she asked the caretaker, can we see? And so he opened up the door and he showed us. It's like secret. It's quite small, But yeah, apparently it goes all the way to the Jagannath temple. Yeah, and I didn't know about that they, when Mahaprabhu first arrived to Puri, he fainted in front of Jagannath. And we hear Sarvabhauma kind of like rescued him and brought him to his house. But I didn't know that he brought him through this tunnel like this, Yeah, it was pretty amazing to see that.
That day we were reading the appearance of Jagadananda Pandit. So that the sandalwood oil, there was a class broken. You had a class there. We sat in the Jagadananda Pandit's house.
I don't remember that.
But you said you told this.
Oh yes, I do remember. Yes,
oil pot,
that's right.
Oil pot and
it's a very small temple, kind of hidden, right? Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And then Haridas Thakur's Samadhi, Siddha Bhakular. So it was all very,
Yes.
That tree where you were saying, Sanatana Gosvāmī, that left, that Mahaprabhu.
Rupa Gosvāmī. Yeah. Yeah, it's Siddha Bhakku, yeah. Yeah, it's a really incredible place to visit, Jagannath Puri. Yeah, we remember all these pastimes. Yeah, maybe we have to go again.
Yeah.
Have you been to Jagannath Puri?
Yeah.
You've been to India, of course, yeah. To Navadvip, yeah.
The accent is a little bit Bengali as well.
No, he sings. No, I think he was a Navadvipasi in his last life. No, it's incredible. Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah. Well, on that note, will you sing for us? Sing for Mahaprabhu, not for us. You can sit in a chair, Pedro, Okay.
Hare Nama Krishna.
Puedes ponerlo así en altar, si quieres.
Hare Nama Krishna Jadavaya Namaha.
Hare
Nama Krishna Jadavaya Madhavaya Kesavaya Namaha. Jadavaya Madhavaya Kesavaya Namaha. Gopal Govindara Srimadu Sudana. Gopal Govindara Srimadu Sudana. Giridhari Gopinath Chaitanya Nityananda CC Guru Viranda Sundarata Gidari Yuki Jai, CC Guru Gobranga Govinda Sundar Yuki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Bhakta Vrinda Jai, Śrīla Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Gosvāmī Maharaj Ki Jai, Om Shrupa Śrīla Bhakti Rakha Siddha Dev Gosvāmī Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Bhagavan Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai, Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai, Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat Ki Jai, Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Vṛndāvana Chapter Ki Jai, Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Jai Shri Yukta Vishakha Devi Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Gosvāmī Devi.
I think next time we just have to organize.